Hi, my name is Brian from Ridgeback Productions, and I help voiceover artists and podcasters grow their audience and generate income. In this video, we're going to be talking about why you, as a voiceover artist, are not booking any auditions. If you're a voiceover artist that's been struggling to land gigs and book auditions, I have 5 reasons why you might not be booking your auditions. If you're a voiceover artist struggling to land gigs, this is the video for you. The number one reason you might not be landing gigs or booking auditions is you just don't have enough training. When we get into this voiceover industry, many of us think that as long as we buy quality gear, we can record in a relatively quiet area, that we're going to be booking gigs. You know, you get told growing up, oh, I love your voice, you have a great voice, or you should do voiceover, whatever all the different reasons you hear. The truth is, it is acting. Even though we're not on camera, we are behind the microphone and we do have to act. If you cannot read a script in a believable manner that someone that's listening to it sounds like it's a conversation or someone normal that would be saying it to them, instead of you sounding like you're reading or you're struggling with the words or the delivery, that's probably the reason you're not getting hired. So the first thing you need to do is get some training. Before you invest in expensive equipment and high quality computers or whatever you think you need, the truth is you got to go out and get coaching. I remember when I first started 6 years ago, I went out and having an experience in audio production, I have a degree in audio and video production. I thought, okay, well, all I need is some nice gear. I already know how to do the production. I've heard many times that people like my voice. No brainer. I can do this. And I thought I was putting out super high quality audio. And the truth is, I go back and listen to it now. It sounds pretty good. The problem is, I didn't sound very good when I was reading, and it wasn't very believable, and I didn't get hired very much. Or I did get hired, but I got hired by low-paying gigs. And, the low-hanging fruit, as we call it in the industry when you're first starting, a lot of that is YouTube stuff and some e-learning and stuff like that. But you can make some money. You can actually make some quality money in those fields. But when you start off, that's typically the low-hanging fruit. And it doesn't pay that much. But if you're willing to start, that is a good place to start. But when I first started, I thought, okay, well, I should be making a lot of money because I can make high quality audio, and it just wasn't the fact. I had to go back and find coaching, and I found some great coaches that I worked with, one coach in particular that I worked with many times and still talk to this day. The number 2 reason that you might not be booking gigs is because you have a poor demo reel, or you might not even have a demo reel at all. Now, you don't need to go out and get an agent. Long are the days where you where you had to have an agent to get hired. That's just not the case anymore, but you do need a demo reel. And it could definitely be a do-it-yourself or DIY demo if you kind of know what you're doing. So, if you do have a demo reel, your demo reel should definitely be highlighting your strengths, and that should be right up front. If you had to pick one demo reel to start with, I would start with a commercial demo reel that kind of applies to all the different genres, whether you want to get into promotional or audiobook or character work or animation, gaming. Start with a good, solid commercial demo reel. That's going to be the best bet, the best bang for your buck if you're investing in it. And on a side suggestion, don't go spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a demo reel in the beginning. You're just not good enough. You don't know what your specific niche is going to be. Don't go wasting your money on a professionally made demo reel yet. Learn to do it yourself, learn to engineer for yourself and produce your own audio and create your own demo reel because, well, there's many reasons. The top one being if you pay for a professional to do it, you're going to be wasting money because you're just not ready yet. And number 2, you're likely not going to be able to recreate that sound that the pro demo producer made for you. Yes, you probably recorded it in your studio, but they did a little extra stuff to it that you're just not able to do yet. And when you submit your auditions, you need to put a little bit of flavor, a little bit of special sauce on your voice when you submit your audios. You don't really submit a raw audio for an audition. This is a little bit off topic, but submitting an audition without producing it a little bit with EQ and a little bit of slight compression, slight. It'd be like going out on a date and taking a shower, getting all clean, but then you just don't get dressed fully, put on some dirty clothes or whatever, and you don't put deodorant on. You're not presenting yourself in the best manner that you possibly can. That leads us into the number 3 reason why you might not be booking your auditions, and that is your auditions are not formatted correctly. So first thing is, most auditions, they do not want you to slate your name. Slating your name is, hi, my name is Brian Pulowski, and this is, okay, they don't want that. Unless the audition specifically asks you to slate your name, don't slate. Multiple takes, it depends. Again, if they want multiple takes or it's short and you think you could pop it off really quick, you're going to throw out a real quick, 2 takes, boom, and then get right into it. You don't want to waste the time. The casting directors, they don't spend a lot of time when they're going through your auditions. 8 seconds, 10 seconds max, they either hear it and they like it, or they hear it and they don't like it and they move on. They're not going to stick around for 3, 4, 5 different takes, even 2 takes if it's a long script. So just get in, get out, give them the best thing that you possibly have. So the number 3 reason is your auditions just might not be very good. You want them to be short and sweet. You don't have to give the entire thing, but give them your 100% absolute best for your audition. Add a little EQ to it, add a little compression to it. You want it to sound good. You want the volume level to be a little bit on the louder side. I always recommend maybe normalizing to -3, -1 if you know what you're doing. If you think about it, these casting directors are listening to audition after audition after audition. And then all of a sudden, if yours comes in at a slightly louder volume, it's going to stand out a little bit as long as it's done correctly. If you don't know what you're doing, just normalize it to -6 or -3 and you're fine. If you know what you're doing and you can get it up to that and you can limit it a little bit, you can push it up to -1 without it over compressing or distorting. And that's definitely not something you want to do. So depending on your ability, louder for your audition is better if you know what you're doing. The number 4 reason that you're probably not landing gigs is you have a very limited vocal range. Now, range as far as not necessarily pitch in your voice, but do you always sound like an announcer? That's actually the first mistake that most beginning VOs go into. Is it feels like a presentation. You get behind a microphone and you feel like you have to project your voice and sound like the announcer voice. That's always like this. And that doesn't sound very natural. If you are talking to your neighbor next door, you're not going to be saying, hey, I like your brand new red car. Okay, that's complete. That's a lot of exaggeration, but you don't want that. It needs to be conversational, needs to be very normal, but that takes practice. So the number 4 reason is you have a limited vocal range. If you are just the girl next door for everything you do, that's fine if you're looking to get booked for that. But if you're willing to accept other things, you need to stretch yourself and not just be the girl next door. You need to also be able to be the soccer mom, or you need to be the mom that's getting ready for a hot day, whatever. It applies to men as much as it applies to women. Expand your range on what you can do. Even if you have something that you are really good at or you really enjoy doing, you need to be able to do a little bit more. So how do you expand your range? Audition for parts that are outside your normal self or your normal range or whatever feels normal to you. If it feels like something you want to give a try, give it a try. Likely you're not going to book it because you're just getting into it, but you might find that what you thought was, you're like, wow, I really like doing whatever. I like doing commercials, but then you try out e-learning and you're like, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this e-learning. Or you try something that's real tricky, like medical narration with really high level vocabulary, but maybe you're really good at that. You have a background in medical and you could excellent at that field, and you don't know it because you haven't tried it. So try it out. You want to expand your range when you're auditioning. That's going to help you book some more gigs. And the very last one is not understanding the brief. When you get a brief about the audition and it's telling you what they're looking for, you got to read it carefully. A lot of times it's going to say they're looking for conversational, acting like you're the guy next door waiting for your neighbor to get home, or looking for an energetic millennial voice similar to, and then they might even give you an example of what they're looking for. Those are golden. If you see that in the brief on what they're looking for, they have a link to a YouTube video of the sound that they like. You need to check those out. You need to read the brief. You need to see who the target audience is. If I'm doing a read for whatever, if I'm going to do a read for a truck commercial, I just did a truck commercial about an hour ago. The brief said that it was specifically for a guy next door looking to upgrade his truck. So that's a completely different audience than maybe Midwestern area that is looking for a work truck, or a truck driver that needs a daily driver to get around, whatever the case is. This was very specific to a guy that wants to upgrade his truck. So we're kind of playing to like the ego of having a nicer truck, but you need to read the brief and really get into that part. Imagine yourself in what you're reading. Imagine yourself being there. How would you talk? How would you react? Put somebody's face in your mind that you're talking to them, that somebody that you talk to naturally all the time. Now that might sound weird, but think of like a neighbor or a family member or someone you work with, someone you're very comfortable talking to, and picture them in your head and tell them the story of what the script is. Whatever the audition is, you're telling that to them. So there could be several reasons why you're not booking your auditions. One of them being that you have just a lack of voiceover training. You want to get in on that. You want to definitely never stop training and working with a coach. Even professional athletes at the highest level still work with coaches. Cannot emphasize that enough, the importance of having a good coach and good training. The number 2 reason would be that you have a poor demo reel. Your demo reel doesn't show enough of what you're good at, or it's recorded poorly, or you don't have a demo reel, or your demos are too long. You only need them to be only about like 10 seconds, 11 seconds, bam, bam. Just give options. Casting director, the client, they just want to hear options. So your poor demo reel would be a second reason you're possibly not getting booked. Number 3 would be that your auditions just are not formatted correctly or recorded correctly. Maybe you're slating your name and casting directors don't want to hear that. Maybe you're taking too long to get into the actual read. Maybe the read is done incorrectly. There could be numerous reasons, but you want to check your auditions and make sure that they are recorded correctly at a proper volume with proper processing on it. You want everything to sparkle for the potential client to hear. Number 4 is your limited vocal range. If you're only working within a certain range in your voice that you're really good at, then you're not expanding yourself. It's good to be, the saying goes, you're a one-trick pony. One-trick pony can make a lot of money, but most people need to be able to work and do everything. We are actors, after all, voiceover actors, and you need to apply your craft to different things. So expand your range. Working with a coach is definitely going to help you with that. And the number 5 and final reason is that you just didn't understand the brief. Make sure you are reading over the audition brief very specifically and looking for keywords that they're looking for, sounds that they're looking for. If they give examples of what they want to hear, maybe the deadline of when it's due, maybe they want a certain amount of silence in the beginning. Analyze that brief very carefully, and that's going to help you book more auditions. So with dedication, persistence, practice, and really honing your craft and getting better by practicing, you're going to start landing more scripts. I guarantee it. Stick with it. Don't get frustrated. You can do this. If you are looking for help honing your craft, this is exactly what I do at Ridgeback Productions. I work with voiceover artists and put you in the right direction towards which sites you should be working with. Which freelance sites? Are you ready for a pay-to-play Should you be getting into a professional coach? Does your audio quality sound good? A lot of times it could be your room environment is echoey. All of that can be handled within just a short 30 to 60 minute consultation, and we can discuss all the little things and make sure we're getting rid of all the little tiny things that might be stopping you from booking auditions. And sometimes it's nice just to ask a professional some questions and get some quality answers. I'd like to offer that to you for free. At no charge to you, you can book a consultation with me, a free 30-minute consultation on a video chat. We'll go over some of your pressing questions and get some of those answered for you so you can get the confidence to start booking your auditions. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I would like to know, what part of being a voiceover artist do you find the most challenging? Is it the constant rejection? Is it the constant amount of auditions that we need to complete? Is it the vast amount of knowledge that we have to know as far as audio editing and in the engineering and the whole process behind that? Is it just the time that it takes to make sure that you get really good at your craft? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below. Until next time.